Yo, this is f***ing crazy. Live me, we don't even know what that is. Hello, if you don't know me, my name is Brandon Powers. I'm a director and choreographer here in New York City. Welcome to my channel if you're just finding me through the algorithm. I was in Vidcon US 2017 in Anaheim, California last week, and this video is going to be all about my adventures there and hopefully give you a little bit of insight into what this crazy few days is like, and if you're watching this in the future, give you a little bit of what to expect. Also some tips if you're thinking about going next year, or maybe even if you're just on the fence and you want to know, should I go to Vidcon? Stay through this video and we're going to talk about all of it. If you found your way here, you probably know Vidcon is the huge conference that happens all over the world, but the biggest one is in Anaheim near Los Angeles every June, and it's all about online video. The event has a few different components, which is actually what makes it unique from a different just con. There's multiple tracks. So there's a community track, a creator track, and an industry track. The community track is for just kind of general people who love online video, who want to go and they want to be a part of the crazy show floor, which has all these huge booths and giveaways and free things and people running around, and you get the chance to meet all your favorite YouTubers. Then there's the creators, which is the pass that I had here. And that gets you onto the second floor where you get to go to all these panels and workshops to help you become a better YouTuber. Then lastly, there's the industry pass, which is the top level. I think it's like over $500 to go, and it's for kind of olds, as I like to say, people from industry to understand the culture, and they're sent there by different companies to learn. Going into the week, I knew it was going to be a definitely younger audience than myself. I'm 25, but I wasn't expecting it to be so young. I walked into the room and I'm just seeing these kids 12 and under, and they're with their parents. Just something you don't think about at my age to expect to see. Now, if you want to be separated from them, the minute you go to the second floor and you go to all the creator sessions, like a decade passes, because these are the people making the stuff on the platform. Of course, there's some younger kids there too, and it still skews young. The whole weekend I felt like I was old, which is crazy and also interesting for me specifically because I spend my kind of day-to-day career as a director and choreographer in the theater and dance worlds, and I'm so young at this age. And I'm gonna hit my prime maybe if I'm lucky in like 20 years, right? And that's when I'll really start to get work, which is a crazy thing to think about. But in this world, these kids are 16 and they have 20 million followers, literally, and because that's where just all the action is, and that's what everyone wants. They want that young talent. And so to be in that different, opposite environment for me was striking. Now, overall, this is an overwhelming event. Not until Friday did I feel finally settled and comfortable. I was walking into the conference center, and I honestly had anxiety attacks for 3 days. There's just so many people everywhere, and there's so much stimulus everywhere. And this is coming from someone who grew up in New York City. It's just everyone has their cameras out, and there's a lot of movement constantly, and everything is trying to grab your attention, because that's what the whole weekend is about. And you should just know that going in, so you're not even more overwhelmed. You have this entire show floor which is covered with these booths from all the different companies. Musical.ly was really huge there. Let's just talk about Musical.ly for a second. I'm obsessed with Musical.ly. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram or something, you know that I use Musical.ly a lot to create little dances. And it's a really fun tool for choreographers and for anyone in general. I love that these teens, I don't mean this derogatorily, that this generation of creators together created a language of what makes a Musical.ly look cool, like how to move your phone in really cool angles, which make the slow-mo look awesome when it's sped up. It's really special. Loved hanging out at the Musical.ly booth, which had this stage, and there was just constantly programming going, and there were constantly kids screaming and grabbing t-shirts that were being thrown, and there was just a lot of fun energy happening there. Which gets me into some highlights. Of course, I went to a ton of panels, I met a ton of people, but what I want to focus on a little bit is what I find really interesting, and what I hope you will as well, which is just the culture that is this event. For me, it was very well worth the trip because not only do I make work on the internet, but I also make work about the internet. All my live work is often about the internet and about this culture. It was also really, for me, a business trip and a research trip for some projects that I am developing. And I learned a lot just being there and just walking around. You see everyone with their cameras out. Everyone with their Joby Gorilla Pods pointing cameras at their face. You feel like a little bit you're on another planet. And it's scary at first, but then that's also a haven of all these amazing creators, all these kids. And I say again, kids, like these young people who are making things. And of course, those things they're making might have different value, you may argue, but at least they're all being creative and they're using their time to make art, which at the end of the day is I think what we're doing here. The other really wild thing about this event is all the creators that are around. And as someone in not only my generation, which again is slightly older than a lot of the audience there at Vidcon, but also someone who's not as deeply entrenched in watching a million YouTube channels as these folks are, like the celebrities for me are still Hollywood celebrities and theater celebrities, sports stars, kind of more traditional celebrities. This generation doesn't see it that way, you know? These generation loves Zach, Clayton, and they love Baby Ariel. I went to an interview with Baby Ariel. I woke up at 9 a.m. so I could go see this girl talk about her becoming a star, and she's 16 and she has 20 million followers on Musical.ly. If you don't follow her and you don't know who she is, you should look it up. And it's just amazing to see people scream for these people. And those are a couple examples of people that I do know. What really gets me about this event, right, is that there's tons and tons of people that you probably have no idea that they exist. That's what I find so fascinating about the internet community and internet celebrity. About 99% of the people at this event, I had no idea who they were. And they're walking around and you would not be able to distinguish them from someone else. But then all of a sudden, there's people running over to them and asking for their picture together, or they want to talk to them and they start screaming after them, and I'm like, oh, they must be someone. I'm trying to stare at people's badges, and I'd look them up and I'd go, oh, okay, they have X number of followers, and sometimes it'd be small, and then sometimes I would see, oh, this person has 500,000 subscribers, and they don't exist in my reality, right? And that's what I'm trying to get at here, right? That with internet celebrity, we have these little bubbles where you're obsessed with this person. Oh my God, I'm a huge fan. I love their content. I love absorbing, I use the word, I'm absorbed in their life and they're sharing it through lenses, right? But outside that bubble, you could have no idea that that person exists. Which is very different from Hollywood because there's just a huge crossover, and because they're in mainstream culture, everyone kind of knows who everyone is to a certain extent. I was trying to think of an analogy for what this event is like either in my generation or to make other people understand it. And what I could think of, it was like, you know, if we went to Disney World, you want to get your autograph book signed, right, by the different Disney characters. And say, I want to go and I want to find Peter Pan. I always get excited about seeing Peter Pan. And so I want Peter Pan signed, but then my friend really wants to get Snow White signed, right? Oh, when I see either or, I would still get excited because I know who Snow White is and my friend will know who Peter Pan is, right? But imagine going to Disney World and all the characters walking around, you don't know they exist except for one, right? And they're that famous. They're as famous to the other person as Snow White. What? You don't know Snow White, Brandon? Are you crazy? What? You don't know who Peter Pan is? That's what it's like being at VidCon. It's all these characters walking around and you know nothing about them, but your friends are obsessed with them. All the folks that are there, and this is something positive, I think, you know, everyone is the one YouTube friend in their group of friends, probably, maybe, you know, until they find their core of creators in their city. They're usually the one that's like, I'm gonna do this thing, and everyone's friends are like, what? What are you talking about? You know, that's what it is for me, you know, until I found the awesome squad that we have here in New York of creators. And when you're there, everyone's that one person, and everyone has that camera, and everyone wants to share, and everyone has just new ways of interacting with each other and is excited to meet each other. It's kind of bringing me home to how I want to close this video. This is an overwhelming event and there's all these crazy things happening, but at the end of the day, it's an amazing place where people can interact. You meet tons of people. If you're on the fence about going, but you're in this culture, I highly, highly suggest you do if you can afford it. Everyone's walking around, everyone just wants to meet someone new. I met someone through Instagram, shout out Rohan, and then we connected. We were like, oh, we want to shoot a collab, let's hang out. We went downstairs to go to the bathroom. We walk out of the bathroom, there's just 3 guys sitting there, and then those 3 guys ended up being our like travel buddies. Hey Victor, hey Brandon. They became our buddies for like the whole week, right? And then I connected them to my crew of people I knew were there, and we all just kind of intermingled. It's really pretty amazing. It's a highly, densely packed, concentrated internet like explosion. And as long as you're ready, and you can tackle it and you can own it. One of my favorite moments of VidCon was on was it the first day when I'm with this group of guys, and then someone's like, hey, he's gonna take us to see his bus that he lives in. Do you want to see his bus? And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's the back of the parking lot. And I'm like, sure, why not? And you know, that's VidCon for you in a moment. Because if I was anywhere else on the planet and someone said, hey, want to see this guy's bus that he lives in the back of the parking lot, you should come with us, I would run the other way as fast as possible. But instead, we all like trust each other and we know what an amazing community this is. And let me say, this was the coolest bus ever. This amazing guy named Jax Austin. Check him out on YouTube here. Has this badass school bus that he gutted, and he drives it all over the country. So I'm glad I met someone like him. I'll probably make a whole nother video, and maybe next year I will, about like how to prepare for VidCon, because I honestly think I wish I was a little bit more prepared, and if you have questions about that below, we can have a conversation. But I'm trying not to get down on myself. You know, I just wish I maybe went to more panels, or I wish I was able to structure my time a little better. I let it wash over me a little for the first time, and now I know next year how I'd want to tackle it. So, Brandon, what does this mean for you and your internet life in this channel? Well, that's a really good question. And of course, you leave VidCon and you are pumped to make video online. That is really the point of that event. But you know, going into it and coming out of it, I've been really honest with myself about my schedule and what I can do and what I want to do. You know, I'm entering a process right now of rehearsal where I can't do any vlogging of any sort due to the situation. And so that's a bummer, so I can't capture that. But I'm hoping to get some other stuff online, especially because I have a huge backlog of videos I haven't made for months. But also, you know, there's a lot of talk of analytics and how to beat the system at VidCon. And for me, I'm not interested in talking about that right now. It's, for me, I want to make kind of weird things online. There's a lot of kind of more experimental artwork I want to do with the camera on the internet that I think is a really missing space that'll help me artistically and on the internet. And so maybe keep your eyes peeled for stuff like that. So I hope this video was useful for you if you're trying to understand more of what VidCon is, or if you're thinking about going in the future. Again, feel free to jump in on the comments below if you have any questions, or if you were there, tell me what your experience was like. I would love to know. If you haven't already, follow me on other socials, especially just a shout out to Rohan, who I made this amazing video collaboration with, which I'm really excited about. He did a crazy good job on the edit. You'll see this cool dance video we made together down below. Hope you're all having a wonderful week, and I will see you soon.